Mhm.
Oh,
Oh,
we're out of
oh my
costume.
goodness gracious. Hi, everyone. All right. And welcome to whatever it is that we're doing. I think that's it. Episode number 256 of What Does This Button Do? It's an educational show about smartphones and technology with us geeks on tour, and check it all out. If you are watching on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe. Click the bell to get reminded when we go live or anything happens there, and it would really help us out because we're getting up there. Okay, Chris has a tip for you. We always start out with a tip. Go ahead.
And this tip is about rotating the screen of your phone. It's supposed to rotate the photo when you rotate the screen. Let me show you what I mean. So here is a beautiful photo. I just love these frangipangies.
Yeah.
They're also called something else. I forget. Anyway, I would love to see it take up more of the screen.
Plumeria.
If plumeria, thank you. If I just rotate the screen, they rotates the photo, unless the setting isn't set right. So I want to show you that setting. I go into settings. This is on the Samsung. Oh, no, sorry. I don't have to go all the way into settings because this is a quick setting. All you have to do is swipe down from the top, and I see it right there. That is the auto rotate. But if yours doesn't show up on the first line, you can swipe down again, and now you see 3 more lines, and there's even more if you scroll over. There is the auto rotate. If I tap it, it now says portrait, which means it's going to stay in the vertical position. So now if I go back to that photo and I rotate the phone, the photo does not rotate. So if that happens to you, you want it to rotate and it doesn't, you just swipe down from the top, tap the little portrait lock icon. This is on a Samsung, and now it is set to auto rotate and the photo will rotate. Sometimes I have found that even when the setting is correct, it doesn't rotate. And all I've done is kick it. I turn the rotate off and then back on again. And that almost always fixes it. Now on an iPhone, very similar. I'll go to that same photo. And when I rotate the phone and it's being held up vertically, the photo rotates, unless you're setting. Now, there's on this particular phone that has a round home button at the bottom, I get to the quick settings by swiping up from the bottom, and there is the rotate setting. If I tap on it, it now turns red, so it means it's locked. And then I go to the photo and it will not rotate. So I'm going to turn that back on. I like my phone to rotate most of the time. Sometimes when I'm reading in bed, I don't. So I then turn on the lock. I just want to show you one more thing that rotating the screen is not just for photos. So let's say I'm reading this emailed newsletter, and on this tiny phone, the newsletter squishes, and if I expand it, then I can't see the left and right. But if I rotate it, now it is much more readable. So that is rotating your phone so that and allowing the contents of the screen to rotate along with it.
Very cool. I like it.
And that is tip number 30. I'm going to be telling you more about the tips on our website later, but that is tip number 30.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. I'm Jim, and here together with my wife, Chris, we are Geeks on Tour. And do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And do you have questions about your iPad or your Android phone or any of your devices, and how do you learn?
Well, we are geeks, also known as propeller heads, but we are geeks who teach, and we think the best way to learn is in bite-sized pieces on a regular basis. So we came up with this show on YouTube, and we pick a topic and we spend close to an hour on whatever topic, and all of our content is collected on our website at geeksontour.com.
Okay, so Chris, where are we now?
Well, we are back home, but last week we went over towards the west coast of Florida and did a presentation at Sun City Center.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We had a live audience, and that doesn't happen very often anymore.
We're doing everything over YouTube and Zoom. But the other thing, we took our little camper van and we stayed out for a couple of nights. And you found this great campground on the way.
Well, yeah, there are several really nice campgrounds. I mean, gosh, we have a lot of great campgrounds. The Army Corps of Engineers parks are especially nice for us because it's always near water and they have nice sites and they're clean and well maintained. And we went to the Ortona Locks that's part of the Okeechobee Waterway. So you can go from the East Coast through the Okeechobee, Lake Okeechobee, all the way to the West Coast in Fort Myers. I've done it several times back in a previous life.
You never took me.
Well, that was...
I think we do this just to have photo ops, though. You get tired of taking the same pictures around home. This was a gorgeous sunrise.
I see nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Okay. Hey, I want to say hi to our online viewers, and there are a bunch of them out there today. Let's see, who do we have there? We have Richard.
Hi, Richard.
Yeah, cool. And let's see, Liz, Ohio. Gracious.
And
Judy.
especially for this episode, I want to say hello to the people who are watching the replay, because this one is very much intended to be something that people watch for a long time. It's the basics of using the smartphone.
Yeah, okay.
So, hello to those watching the replay.
Yeah, Bill's watching from Willamette Valley of Oregon. Laverne's going to be warm again in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Brazil.
Yeah, watching for the first time. Very cool. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. All right, Maryland in Georgia. Great.
So there was one about the cruise.
All right, let me see if I can find it. But, okay, Ron's here. Anybody
Ron.
else? Honey? Okay, that's great. Thanks so much for stopping by. And let me see if I can find that. But you just sit there
Linda.
and don't say a word while we're there.
You said that you looked at our cruise in Hawaii because you love Hawaii. Doesn't sound like a good deal for a single. We do have other singles you can maybe get together with. And yes, I had heard that you had spoken to the travel agent, so maybe there's been a miscommunication here. Check in again. I heard about you. So we would love to have you join us, and anyone who wants to join us on this Hawaii cruise in January.
Should be a lot of fun. Ruth wants me to change her live chat name to I can't do that. You have to do that yourself.
Yeah, and I wrote some instructions in the chat there.
Oh, okay.
Ruth, or Geo. Is this Geo?
Geo.
Not Alex from Germany, Geo, is it?
No.
Okay.
Okay. What do you want? You want that? Thank you to our premium members. You make this possible. It really is. Our premium members, Geeks on Tour is a premium membership site. You can go on there. You can get all kinds of extra benefits and say thank you for doing this. Go ahead. Want to remind our premium members, one of the benefits is our backstage pass. It's a Zoom meeting right after this live show. You can get the link from an email that Chris sends out this morning, right? You sent that out?
Yeah.
Okay. Or it's on our website, geeksontour.com. At the member login page, the link is right there. If you're a member, you can click on that and you can join us backstage for a little discussion afterwards. It's great.
So today's session is called Smartphone Basics 1. We plan to have several of these in, and this one is Know Your Device. Now, this is not intended as a comprehensive class. I mean, you could spend weeks in school learning about all the different functions and formats of these phones. What we do is we present a set of tips. These tips are things that we think are important and that we know a lot of people don't know. They are also tips that can lead to learning more. So we have a series, I think we have 10 tips today about Know Your Device. So today is set 1 in the Smartphone Basics. First thing first, what kind of phone do you have? Smartphones come in 2 basic flavors, 2 operating systems, Apple, iOS, or Android. So which is better?
I think Android's better.
I think iPhone is better.
Okay, why?
They're really just kind of Ford and Chevy. It's not, but if you haven't bought one yet and you're wondering what to buy, we always say whatever your family has, whatever your support system has. iPhones tend to be a little bit more expensive, although that's changing. And they tend to be a little bit easier because they're all a closed system, all by Apple. Androids have some less expensive options because it has several different manufacturers. And they are more open, more flexible, which also can mean a little more difficult. Now, if you already have one, it used to be so easy for me to say how you can just look at your phone and know if it's an iPhone or an Android. If it has the round button at the bottom, it's an iPhone. But they don't all have that anymore. So you can't just look at the face of it. Now, you can see an apple on the back. Not if you have a cover on it. So that settings button is a real giveaway. On the screen there, you see the settings button for Apple. Looks like a fan cover, a whole set of gears. And the settings button for Android just looks like a gear. You go into settings to find out what exact model you have. And I want to demonstrate that. So here is my iPhone. I go to the home. I find the settings button, which on mine is right down here in the lower left. That is the settings. And to find out what model of iPhone this is, you go to General and About. And it tells you all sorts of things about this phone. The name of it is Chris iPhone SE. The iOS version, that can be important too, 16.4. The model is an iPhone SE. The model number, MXCY2LLA. If you put that into a Google search, you will find out more than you ever want to know about your model of phone. But just knowing that it's an iPhone SE will help a lot, and the iOS version. So that's Apple. On the Samsung Android, it's also in settings, and there is the settings button for my Android. You can also get to settings. My normal way is to swipe down from the top, and there's the little settings gear right there. And it's also about, but this about is all the way, look at all those settings. But there is about phone. And it tells me the phone number, the product name Galaxy S21 Ultra 5G, the model name SMG99AU. Once again, if I put that into a Google search, then I will come up with even more details. And here, if I want to know the Android version, I go to software information. So all this was hardware information. Here is software information, and I am on Android version 13. So those are all good things to know about your device. If you need to ask for support, those are questions that you are going to be asked. So now you know how to find it. That is what model. Have you ever been told, well, read the manual? When it comes to your phone,
RTFM?
most people will say, what manual? Well, believe it or not, there is a manual. Step 1 is to know the exact model of your phone. I just showed you how to do that. Step 2 then is to just do a Google search for a user manual for that exact model. Some phones have a manual built in. I do want to show you that. On my Samsung, if I go into settings, down towards the bottom is tips and help. So in help, it has a bunch of useful, it has a bunch of useful tips. So security and privacy, you might want to find out some tips about security and privacy on your Samsung phone. But this is not a complete user manual. To find that, you do need to go to a web search. So I'm on the web, and I do a Google search for Samsung S21 Ultra User Manual. I'd already looked for that earlier. And you're going to get a bunch of results. There is a user manual put out by Verizon, but I think I want the one that's direct from Samsung. Galaxy S21 Ultra 5G SMG988U support and manual. Go there and scroll down, and here are manuals. Now, I made the mistake first time I tried this of just downloading on this first thing, not realizing this is just the legal notices. I had to click on See More to find the full user manual, and then and the English version, and then download that. You have to click I accept. But I just want you to see this, because this is a 164-page manual. So it is pretty complete. Anything you want to know about setting up your device, about using the camera, about the Samsung apps, Google apps, etc., etc.
One of the nice things is you can search that. It's searchable.
Right.
That's
right. So if I want to know, and it has this great table of contents, I can just click on Wallet and see all about Wallet. Okay, so that's Samsung. On the iPhone, it's maybe even better, and I'm going to use the iPad just because it's a bit bigger to see. And because you see there's a different manual for that. It's the books. Every iPhone and iPad come with an app called Books. Tap on that and you should see iPhone user guide. Now, you might be seeing iPhone user guide for iOS 13 or something, so you might need to update it. Because I just looked in my controls, I found that I am on iOS 16.4, so this is my user guide. And I can read it, especially on the iPad on a nice big screen, just like a book. Page after page. And there is a table of contents. This little button down the lower right will take you to either search the book or go to the table of contents and read whatever you want. So there you go. Read the manual. And that is tip number 43 on our website. You can also find that iPhone, iPad manual on the web if you prefer to read it on the computer. You just go to support.apple.com, guide, and iPhone. But there's more than just the hardware and the operating system. There's also your account, very much customizes your phone. It's your phone, not his phone. Why? Because it's my account that is set in the phone, and it's very important that you know your account. Every iPhone has an Apple ID. That's the account. Every Android needs a Google account. So you need to know what those are. And we have a pre-recorded segment on that right now.
Hi, this is Chris Gould with Geeks on Tour, and in this video I want to show you about how to find out the account that's associated with your phone. Every iPhone needs an Apple ID, that's an Apple account, and every Android phone needs a Google account. I'm going to show you how to find out what is on your phone. So this is an iPhone, and first I want you to understand why it's important to have an Apple ID associated with it. You won't be able to download any apps. Let's say I wanted to get this app, and it's going to need to know your account, your Apple ID, and the password for that account in order to download an app, even a free app. So how do you find out what has been set up on your phone? You go into settings, and it's out at the main level of settings all the way at the top. Right at the top it has the username who owns this phone. You tap there, and there is the Apple ID, gotguest1@icloud.com. This is an old phone of mine. I'm not showing you my real account stuff. So that is the username, but you're also going to need to know the password. How do you find that out? This is something that you just need to know. You should have it written down somewhere, but let me show you how you can prove that you know it. On a computer, and preferably on an incognito browser, that means you are using a browser where no accounts are currently signed in. You go to iCloud.com, that's the Apple, and sign in. And so you need to know the Apple ID, and then you need to know the password. You type in what you think the password is, and hopefully we'll have success when we click this arrow. If you don't, then you just click here, Forgot Apple ID or Password, and follow the instructions to allow yourself to create a new password. On an Android, it's very similar. You go into Settings, and you find Accounts, and you should see a Google account. Otherwise, you would not be able to get apps from the Play Store. And there it is, gotguest1@gmail.com. And to prove that you know the password, go to a computer browser and open an incognito window. Go to google.com and sign in. Click Next. Enter password. If you really don't know it, you can just click Forgot Password. But if you think you know it, type it in, click Next, and pat yourself on the back. You got it right. So make sure that you know your Apple ID for iPhones and your Google account username and the password for each of them.
Okay.
Have you ever been in an Apple store and asked for support? Gone to their, what do they call it, the Genius Bar? They spend more than half their time just figuring out people's usernames and passwords.
That's crazy.
People come into the store, they say they need help. The first question is, what's your Apple ID and password?
Yeah. We run into the same thing when we do our live
Yeah.
smartphone help desk stuff when we're...
So something that's important to know, figure it out now, write it down, be confident that you know your username and password. Then, if you should ever lose your phone, you can find it. Now, there's one other little setting first, though, before we actually demo losing a phone and finding it. I need to show you, both on the iPhone and on the Android, that you have to have a setting turned on. So in the iPhone, for Find My Phone, settings, and I'm never sure exactly which heading it's under, so I like using search. If you pull down, search appears at the top, and I can type in find, and there we go. Find My iPhone, Apple ID. It is on. Now, it is not on, as I understand it. This is not on by default, so you make sure you go in here. But not only should it be on, tap on it, and there's 3 choices. Find My iPhone is on, Find My Network is on, and Send Last Location. The second 2 are if your phone is not online or its battery has died, it can still tell you where last it was. So that's a setting you just need to do this now. Because you don't want to realize that hasn't been turned on when you do lose your phone and go to find it. You won't be able to find it. On the Android, it's a little bit better because it's on by default. On the Android, it's under Google, and the Google services Find My Device and make sure that is on. But it is on by default, so this isn't as important. Okay, now, I don't know where my iPhone is. Here, Jim, you take it.
I don't want it.
So, how do I find it? You go to a web browser. So I'm going to a computer. And as long as you know your username and password, it can be any computer. You can go to the hotel's computer or your friend's computer. You just go to iCloud.com. That is where all of your Apple stuff is stored under your account. And you sign in. Now, this is my computer, so it does already have this filled out for me, but you would just need to know your Apple ID and click Next, and your password, and click Next. Now, it's saying, well, you have 2-factor authentication on, and I just sent a code to your phone.
Yeah, I just got a...
And I say, well, but wait a minute. There's a hole in the bucket here. I can't find my phone. That's the whole problem. Now, I do have an Apple Watch, so it got sent to my Apple Watch. But notice here that there's a separate button that says Find Devices. So it understands. If the code just got sent to a device that you can't find, you need to be able to find devices. Now make sure you're looking for the right device. I have a lot of Apple devices.
And pretty much all of them are here.
Well, true. I want to find my iPhone SE. I get a map. And it shows me where the iPhone SE is. And yes, I see that's in the house. So I have 3 options: play sound, lost mode, and erase iPhone. Since I see it's in the house, I'll just have it play a sound. Now, why wouldn't you just say, "Hey, honey, call my phone"?
Well, honey might not be here.
Right, honey might not be here.
What's that noise?
So there it is. I find it. Pressing any button will stop the, or the home button, whatever. So I found the phone. Now, if you look at the map and you see that it is at the restaurant where you had breakfast, that's the purpose for lost mode. When you click on lost mode, you have the opportunity to put a message on your phone that says, "This phone is lost, call me at this other number." And you put honey's number. Then the last possibility is you see on the map that your phone is in Chicago. Somebody has taken it and you want to erase the phone. I am not going to do that. Okay, so that was the iPhone. You go to iCloud.com. Here is my Samsung Android phone. Take it away, Jim.
I don't want this either.
My Android phone is lost. What do? You also go to a website, but it's a longer URL, so I just Google for find my Android device. It is google.com Android find, but I can just click here from having Googled for it, and here we go. We get a map. It also does a ding right away on the first phone. Notice I have 3 phones up here.
That was my phone that just dinged.
The Google Pixel 7 is also attached to my account. That's Jim's phone. Here's the phone I'm looking for. Once again, it shows me it's in the house. So I just play a sound. Aha!
Such a pleasant sound.
You took my phone.
It looks like mine.
Okay. And you have the same options. So you can play sound, you can secure the device, lock it, sign out of your Google account, and put a message on the screen, or you can erase the device. So those are the 3 options. Make sure the initial setting is on, and then if you ever lose your phone, you can find it.
Okay.
All right. What's next?
No questions.
Any questions? No questions.
Come on, kids.
Well, you know, our usual live audience here probably knows all this stuff. I'm doing this to have a place where you can send people who
We'll give them the benefit
don't
of the
know
doubt
this
anyway.
stuff.
How's that?
Okay. And here's one that is very useful to know for if you're going to use your phone, is putting apps into organizing the apps on your phone. And we have a pre-recorded segment for this. Hi, this is Chris Gould with Geeks on Tour, and I have a tip for you about putting special apps into special folders. I have a lot of travel apps, and I wonder if your screens look anything like mine. I have travel apps on the first screen and on the second screen and on the third screen, and I never remember their names. I want to put them all in one place, and that's called a folder, and I'm going to show you how, both on an iPhone and on an Android. So here's my iPhone,
And notice I have 4 apps on this home screen that are travel apps. All I have to do is long press on one of them. If I long press on the RV Parky, and then I keep holding down, everything starts to wiggle. And I can just drag it on top of the next one. That has created a folder. Now that everything is still wiggling, I can just drag the next app into that same folder. And this one. It can be a little tricky. And notice it already called the folder travel based on the items I put in it. Now there's some on the next screen though. This one, Togo RV, I hold down on it and then bump up against the edge. Like I say, it can be a little tricky, but it works. I also have a travel app on my very last screen, this one called iOverlander. Long press, and you can also just tap on Edit Home Screen. But no, if you keep touching on the app, it will start wiggling all on its own. Okay, so now it's wiggling, and I can drag that, bump up against the left screen until I'm all the way back to the beginning, and then drop it in that folder. There we go. And when you're done, you press the home button. Now I have all of my travel apps, or at least some of them. I have more than that, but that'll do. Now on an Android, it works pretty much the same way. This is my Samsung Note 9, and on this screen, there's the iOverlander, there's Road Trippers. So I will touch and hold, and then just drag. They don't wiggle on the Android. You just touch and hold and then drag them up. This one is asking me for a folder name, so I will type travel. And done. Back out to the main screen. Now RV Parky needs to be dragged into that folder. There. You just kind of have to touch the edge. Now I think, oh, there's another one, all stays. Touch and hold. Drag to just touch the edge of the folder and let go. And there's a couple more on this screen. Touch and hold, drag over, touch the edge of the folder. And the last one, where am I? Love that one. Come on. When that gets too tricky to drag an item into the folder, Android gives us another way. You can open the folder and you can tap plus, and that is looking at your list of all apps alphabetically. So where am I? I can tap the W and I will see where am I, and done. You could also have selected several in there and now it's added. But realize that that's added it again to the home screen. So here is the original. I can long press on that and remove from home. Now you can also move the whole folder. I mean, if I decide that I want to travel on my last screen, I can touch and hold and drag the whole folder over. And that's how you put all your special apps together in one special place called a folder. Organizing your phone screen into folders. That was tip number 10 on our tips database on the website. Next one. Oh, no, this one is tip number 10 on the database on the website. Squeeze it to stop the ringing. So have you ever been in a theater? Oh, this is so embarrassing. And you did not remember to turn your sound down or mute your phone when you went in a theater and your phone starts ringing. You don't want to have to fumble in your purse or your pocket, pull out your phone, unlock it, find the phone call, either answer it or hang up on them. Here's what you do. I am going to call Jim right now so you can hear his phone ringing. And he's going to show you
how he stops it ringing.
What's that noise? I just squeezed my phone. It was in my pocket. And it stopped the ringing. But there is a call coming in from some good-looking woman.
And it's still, I hear it still ringing.
So
he hasn't hung up on
I
me.
can actually answer the phone. I can get up, walk out, or just do whatever. I can screen the call in my case, or just
let it go to
let it
voicemail.
go to voicemail. But it stops the noise. It makes it so much more pleasant, and you don't have to fumble around. The idea is you hit a button on the side. Now, if you have buttons on the side, you're set. If you don't have buttons on the side, you'll have to try something else. But this is a great tip.
Yeah, all you have to do is press a physical button. The power, the volume up, volume down. But since they're usually on the side, just squeezing the phone usually does the trick.
And that's the way it works.
And that is one of our favorite tips, actually. It drives me nuts when I hear people let their phone go ring, 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 and they get up and they walk out, but it's ringing all the way. Just press a button, it'll stop ringing.
Yeah.
All right. Force quit misbehaving apps. This is the next tip. And yeah, let's just play the video on this.
7:38.
Yep. Okay, so there's two more on the basic smartphone tips, the reboot and the force quitting apps. And they kind of go together. So let's see. I'm going to start with my Samsung, my Android phone. And first, I just want to show you my recently used apps. That's this 3- button down on the very bottom left. When you tap that, you see all of the apps that you have recently opened. Now, some people think that it's important to do a close all to clean this up. It is not. And people have gotten into fights over this, but I've done a lot of research, and it's not like a computer. These aren't taking up processing power. They're just placeholders. So actually, if you close all the time, you're slowing down your phone because it doesn't have the shortcut placeholders available. That said, there are some reasons to use this. But first, I want to show you rebooting. I'm going to hold down on the power button, also known as the side key, and I'm going to choose restart. So that is rebooting my phone. So it's in process. So on the Android phone, there is that restart option. It shuts down and comes back all on its own. But what I want you to see is that my most recently used apps are all still there. So reboot did not clean them off. Why? Because it doesn't need to. It's not a good idea to clean those off. Now, if you're just, if you're one of those that always likes to have a completely clean, neat desk, then okay, I understand. It doesn't really hurt much, but
It does slow you down.
I wanted to give an example of when because this happened just a couple days ago. We were traveling and I needed to use my Android Samsung as a hotspot. And it wasn't working. I mean, the hotspot would turn on. I could connect my computer to the hotspot that my phone was being, but after a couple of minutes, it would drop it. It just wouldn't stay.
Reboot. It really does solve a lot of problems.
It did fix it. The hotspot worked after that.
Yeah.
But if you're just having problems, for example, with Google Photos, let's say you start to scroll through Google Photos and you go to library and nothing shows up and nothing does, and you tap on something and it doesn't work. You could reboot the phone, but if the only thing you're having a problem with is Google Photos, then you just want to reboot Google Photos. And that is what the multitasking is for. I would tap on the 3 lines that brings up recently used apps, and I would swipe Google Photos off. That means when I reopen it, it's not starting from that placeholder. It's starting fresh, and it usually fixes those problems. So that was on the Android. Same thing on iOS. I'm going to use my, what is this?
That's an iPad.
That's an iPad. Because it can work if you have a newer iPhone that doesn't have a button. You need to know how to get to your multitasking. And you do that by swiping up from the bottom and then letting go right at the middle. Now I'm on the multitasking, as opposed to just swiping up. Now I'm at home. So swipe up, kind of hold for a second in the middle and let go. Now you can find your misbehaving app and force quit it. That's what that's called. And on the iOS devices, you hold down on the power button until you see slide to power off. And you do have to power off and then count to 10, hold down on the power button to turn it back on again.
Yep.
Force quit. I use it all the time.
That's because you're messing with it. Oh, we're out of focus. Oop, sorry.
The main purpose for force quit is when you have a misbehaving app. But I use it
Chris,
a
we're
lot.
out of focus.
There you go. I use it a lot when I just want something to stop. You know, a video is playing or a song is playing and it's annoying me. And rather than figuring out how to go into the app and stop it from playing, I just force quit it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Linda says, I wish there was some way Find My Phone would work when the battery is dead and or the sound is turned off. Pretty sure I lost an iPhone at a huge dog park several years ago, and I had to erase my phone.
Oh, I'm so sorry. iPhones, as we said, aren't cheap. But they should, if you go into the settings of your current iPhone under the Find My and make sure that you turn on the Save Last Location feature, then even if the battery is dead, it should show you on a map where it was when the battery died. And it also is supposed to play the sound even if the phone is muted. So hopefully you won't even have to use it again, but if there is a next time, hopefully it will work. All right. I think I have just 2 more. Copy and paste. This is something we do all the time on the computer, right? But how do you do it on the phone? Well, it actually works exactly the same. I'm so excited about this. It works exactly the same on an Android and on the iOS. So I'm just going to show you on my Android because it's a little bit bigger screen. Let's say I'm starting an email and I want to go get some text that's on the Geeks on Tour website. I want to copy it from the Geeks on Tour website and paste it here. So I have a email being composed. I go home and find the Geeks on Tour, and the paragraph I want is on reasons to become a member. So it's this first paragraph here I want to copy. The key, I can't do a Control-C, right? And I can't do a right click. There is no such thing. What I can do is a long press. Long press is kind of like a right click. It selects one word and gives me these 2 little handles. So I'll drag the handles to the beginning and end of what I want to copy. The word copy has popped up at the top. I type I tap on copy. Now I go back to my email. What's the best way to do that? The recent apps button, and there's my email. Now what do you think I do? I can't right click, so what can I do? Long press, and there is paste. So I have copied the paragraph of text from a web page and pasted it into an email. Copy and paste. And I think there's just one. Oh no, there's two more.
Okay.
The next one is don't go to sleep so fast. What am I talking about? Have you ever been using your phone to maybe compose an email? And you stare off into the distance for a moment to compose your thoughts. And the next time you look back at your phone, it's black. It's gone to sleep. There's a setting for that. And I guarantee you, if your setting is set to go to sleep after 15 seconds of inactivity, you are being annoyed by your phone all the time for it going to sleep so fast. So let's look at that setting. iPhone. Settings. And let me get back out. Okay. And it's under display and brightness because it has to do with the display. The display goes black when it goes to sleep. And in the iPhone, it's called auto lock. So when it goes dark, it's locked. Auto lock. And here, if you have 30 seconds, it is annoying. But if you have 5 minutes or never, then your battery is dying quickly because the more your screen is on, the more battery you use. So either 1 or 2 minutes is what I like to leave it at. And on the Android, very similar, just some different words. I go into settings. It's still under display. There are so many settings. You know, we hope with these tips we just get you to start exploring your settings. There's display, and on the Samsung anyway, the feature is called screen timeout. So if you don't touch the screen for 15 seconds to 10 minutes, it will go black. Once again, I like either 1 or 2 minutes. And hopefully your phone won't be so annoying then. Or it'll be annoying for other reasons. And last but not least, because this could save your life, everybody needs to know how to turn their flashlight on. And on the iPhone, you go to what's called the control center. Now, on the iPhones with the physical round home button, you get to the control center by swiping up from the bottom. And if you don't see flashlight right away, swipe up a little bit more. And there's the flashlight. You can see that it has turned on. When you're done, make sure to turn it off because talk about something that'll drain your battery. Now, if you have an iPhone that does not have the physical home button, the 10 or later, then you get to the control center with the swipe down from the upper right. Android, it's one of those quick settings, so it's just a swipe down and there's the flashlight. Once again, if it's not in your first row, just swipe down again and you should see more. You can even swipe over and you can move these icons around. We have another tip on that. But know where your it is so wonderful to have a flashlight with you at all times. You never know when you might need it. And I think we're done. We just gave you 10 tips. They are all tips on our website. This I need to show you this, but this is a feature for members only. Notice the one that has an asterisk, that is a free sample. So I just need to show you what I mean. If you go to geeksontour.com, you can either type /tips, or it's under tutorials and all tips. And this is a brand new feature. I'm just starting to build it out. I have 50 some odd tips so far. So if you know that the tip you're looking for was 043, you just type 043 in the search, and there it is, how to get the manual for your phone. Or you see that they are all in categories. Here's the smartphone basics, and there you can click for more. Here are all the tips on smartphone basics, and there will be more.
Lots more.
Lots more. I am really liking creating these tips. And that is it for me.
Okay, here, do you have a tip on blocking potential spam calls on Samsungs?
Oh, God, I wish. We have a few. Some of them work, some of them don't. That'll be another... If anybody else has one that they really like, go ahead and put it in the chat. Tip on blocking potential spam.
Sometimes my iPhone flashlight goes on and it is annoying. How do I resolve that?
I wonder what kind of phone you have, because I just recently learned there's the Moto X, I think it is. The flashlight turns on.
She said iPhone.
Oh, iPhone. Why it would come on without, you mistakenly swipe down and then tap on it? I don't know. I don't know. That would be annoying.
Stump the geek.
It certainly shouldn't turn on without you asking it to. Oh, there is another way. You can say, "Hey Siri, turn on." Oh, I shouldn't do that. Everybody's. You can ask her.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
You can ask her to turn on your flashlight. So if you use Siri a lot, maybe she's misunderstanding you and is turning on the flashlight based on a voice command.
Yeah, that's kind of far-fetched, but hey, it's possible.
Yeah, could be.
All right. Well, did you learn something?
Is there something else I can help with?
Shut up.
Now everybody's just going off. It's crazy. All right. Every iPhone needs an Apple ID and every Android and a Google account. You can find the account username in A, settings, B, account app, C, LastPass, or D, keychain.
A, settings.
All right. So, true or false, when you press any physical button to stop a phone ringing, you can still answer the call.
True. That's so cool.
Okay. Grouping app icons together on your phone screen is called what? Albums, folders, clusters, or family?
Folder, B.
Okay. You want to hit the button? Thank you. In order to force quit an app, quit playing with your phone.
Trying to answer this other question that came in.
In order to force quit an app, you pay attention. You need to see the what screen, the control, the recent apps, or the dashboard.
B, recent apps. Sometimes called multitasking.
Okay. On a computer, you can right-click for options. On a smartphone, it's A, shake it, B, squeeze it, C, long press.
C, long press. Very similar to right-click.
Okay. All right, I want to remind our premium viewers, if you're a paid member at Geeks on Tour, we have the Backstage Pass. It's a Zoom meeting. There's a link you can get from an email that Chris sends out earlier in the day, or you can go to our website, geeksontour.com, and go to the member login. The link for the Zoom is there, and you can join us right after this show, and we'll discuss the show and anything else that you feel that we feel you want to discuss.
Yeah, bring up Carol Wolf's.
Okay.
Tap on the back. You are so good. Yes, Carol, you can program in the settings to tap twice on the back and turn your flashlight on. I tap 3 times on the back to take a screenshot, but you can also make that turn on the flashlight. That must be what you have.
All right. Linda has a T-Mobile and rarely gets spam calls, so that's through your provider.
Excellent.
They are stopping that stuff. Okay. And let's see. It's easy to accidentally turn the flashlight on from the lock screen or a long press to turn it on and off. And those are settings you can put in there. How about that? Okay, Chris, what's the webpage that lists all of our YouTube shows?
Geeksontour.com, and the menu item is YouTube show.
And the webpage that lists all of our recent newsletters.
Geeksontour.com, the menu item is blogs and news. Newsletters are under there.
Okay, we want you to sign up for those newsletters, but why do people pay $58 a year to join Geeks on Tour?
They get to ask us questions. They get this new database of tips. They get the backstage pass to have private Zoom meetings with us. And some people just join to say thank you for all the free training they get.
Okay. You gonna do that? Become a member. It's $58 a year, or you can join for 1 year for only $68. That doesn't renew. Just go to geeksontour.com/join now. Sign up for our newsletters. All that stuff is there. Get the book. Chris wrote a book, you know. I'm Jim.
I'm Chris.
And we are Geeks on Tour. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.